So this morning is going to be a little more freeform than the stuff I've done in the past. If you've heard me speak one of these workshops before, I've done handouts and had plans of action and all kinds of stuff. Today, I just want to kind of raise your awareness. So it's less about here's what you need to go do, but make you aware of things that you may want to look into. For this talk, I'd like to have a couple of people, and Jim's already volunteered that I can use him as an example of Googling and other kinds of searches that you can do to learn stuff about people. When I meet you and I grab your business card, one of the things I'll do is pop you into my contacts database, so I've got that data forever. But I'll also, if I anticipate that I'm going to be doing some business with you or ongoing relationship of some sort, I'll probably end up doing a little research on you on the internet. So over the years, I've learned some things to look for where I don't spend time looking. And so I just thought it might be interesting for you to see some of the kinds of stuff that I look at and probably other people are looking at as well. So let's start with an easy one. Actually, I'll go the opposite of what I was going to. Who has not ever Googled their own name? Good. Everybody's you haven't?
Yeah.
You haven't. You want to learn today?
Sure.
All right. Let's start with you. What's your name? Tom.
Dale, D-A-L-E.
Just like that? All right. So the first thing is, you can just Google them just like this. Now, does any of that look like you? All right.
Maybe more. Fifth one down, yeah.
Maybe the fifth one down? Indianapolis, that might be you.
Also Tom Dale and Carmel.
Okay.
Actually, the third or fourth one down, yeah, 46217.
So the placement of all this stuff on the page, these are called organic listings. Actually, what I should do too is I've got an ad stopper on here, and I'm going to pause that so we can see all the ads that pop up around it as well. There's a whole branch of work that happens in the IT world called SEO. And I even used an acronym to say that. IT, meaning information technology, and search engine optimization, which is SEO. Really, computer work is not hard, but we try and make it sound like it's hard because we use these cryptic little TLAs, three-letter acronyms. So SEO is our search engine optimization. So when you do a search on the internet, and let's try this again, you're going to get back typically what's called these organic listings, which are, I don't know why I'm not getting any ads on that, but I'm not. Just the results. Google's gone out or Yahoo's gone out and indexed the internet, and they say this is the most relevant stuff to Tom Dale. And you notice that, like we said, it's already pulling up Indianapolis. If I was sitting out in San Diego, it probably wouldn't pull that link up. It knows about where I'm at, and it's pulling up stuff relevant to my geographic location right now. In fact, you can even see over here that it says I'm in Indianapolis, and I can change that if I want. So what I'm concerned about today is this search engine optimization, which businesses do for themselves. Our company has a couple of major consumer websites, and we spend money to make sure that those pages get placed where we want them in the rankings. So today what we're going to talk about is search engine optimization for yourself. Okay? So when I do this, Tom Dale, Dale's a relatively unique last name. I mean, it's not real common. But Tom obviously is huge common, right? So a lot of times what I'll do next is that I'll put that name in quotes. Because I'm not interested in Dale Tom or Tom Jones and Dale Smith, which is also going to pop up in that. So I want just Tom Dale, so I'll do this. And in this case, it didn't bring back a whole lot of different stuff, but it did change the results a little bit. I'm going to guess that his real name is Thomas, and I'll probably do a search like this as well. Now that changes the results quite a bit. Are you Sir Thomas Dale? English naval commander? Probably not. So what I then start to do is start to narrow those results down a little bit. I'll actually include Indianapolis in my search. And if I just met Tom, I'd probably have already found out where he lives. So Tom, where do you live?
Near Greenwood.
Okay, so, but you're in Indianapolis? All right, so that's the right town. If you were living in Carmel, I'd add Carmel on the end of that. And I'd also probably have found out where you work. So where do you work, Tom?
Midwest Computer.
So another thing I'll do is I'll put in Midwest Computer. See if that starts to help me find something. He's an active officer of Midwest Computer Accessories. And again, Midwest Computer is relatively two generic words, right? Midwest, there's a lot of Midwest stuff, a lot of computer stuff. I want to make sure that Google knows I want those words together, so I'll put those in quotes. And I'll see this. Let's see. So now I'm starting to find a little bit more and more about Tom. Tom, is there something on this page that doesn't pertain to you at this point?
No, I think that's pretty much...
That's everything. It's all you. So that's pretty cool. We've really started to narrow that down a little bit. Now let's say we...
What's interesting is I'm not on LinkedIn.
So
Yet. I plan to very soon with Jim Thursday. But it lists if I do have some kind of a... curious.
Apparently you are on there. You just didn't know it. So a word about this. So this is LinkedIn, obviously. Everybody have a LinkedIn account, pretty much? Okay, good. So your website, your LinkedIn profile, a lot of these other places, these are the things that you want to tell the world about yourself, right? So, in some of my previous talks, we spent time about how to build this out, what to do in it to make sure that it's relevant, to make sure that it's going to come up in the search results listing, which I told you to do that over a period of time so that you're making continual changes, because Google likes things that are changing. That means it's fresh content and they want to raise that up in the ranks. That's all good stuff. But at the end of the day, when you come to your search result listings, how many links are there on this page to LinkedIn? One. So what we're concerned about today isn't that one link, it's all of these other links. Are these the links that Tom wants to have out there? And I'd guess none of these are inflammatory. These are good links for you, right? So that's all great. Maybe as I'm talking with you, especially since we're here at Catholic Business Exchange, I'd say, well, what parish are you in?
St. Barnabas.
All right, so we'll do Barnabas. See if there's anything that pops up there. And looks like we still need the Indianapolis on it. Kind of narrow that down a little bit. And not really seeing much there. So maybe the second one? Okay, so yeah, CYO looks like from 1987, activity report. So you start to see, okay, he's got some stability in the community, right? So I pull up stuff like that. I'm going to cancel it. We're not going to pull it up right now, but you can start to learn a little bit more if you start to dive in a little bit. All right, so Tom, I'm going to slip off of you here for a minute. Yeah.
Am I right that second listing says October 1988?
That's correct. And
so
if
a search like this would pull up something that was several years old.
Oh, absolutely. And if you look at the actual name of the document, it's Activity Report 1987-1988. It's even older than that. So
it doesn't rank these by recency or anything like that because you didn't ask it to.
No, that's exactly right. It does not rank them by recency. You can do. It's doing what it thinks are the most relevant. If you want to, you can. There we go. Add time ranges on them. How long's it been out there? But in this case, 1988, that predates the internet. There wasn't a World Wide Web in 1988, right? So this document was posted more recently than that. So when you change your searches here, it's based on posting date, not the date of the relevant information. You'll find stuff for, I'd like to do genealogy research. I'll find stuff from the 1800s, 1700s. Of course, it's been posted on the internet in the last 5 years or something. So this is the posting date, not the date of the information.
Don't open that up. I may have had a technical foul.
Lynette.
That thought has concerned me because as time goes on, there's going to be more and more and more stuff on there. Is there any way to clean these out, or is it just going to be progressively more?
So I have a friend. His name is Alan Householder. He lives in Pittsburgh. He used to work with me at Lilly. And he's got a son. He gave him a Scottish name, and I'm forgetting the name he gave his son. but it's a rather unique name. I can't even remember it. It's so unique. And he told me shortly after his son was born that he would never, ever post anything on the internet about his son. He would never put anything Facebook with pictures. He was never going to put anything out there like that because, in his estimation, anything that went onto the internet should be assumed to be permanent. That it would be an archive that would grow over time and not really be trimmable, if that's a word. And he didn't want to put that out there for his son, not because he's a young boy, but because as a man, he may not want stuff that was posted 20, 30, 40 years ago out there about him. So he wants to leave that kind of a decision to his son. So the answer is you should assume it's permanent, and it will continue to grow. And there's not a ton you can do about it.
And if there's inaccurate information and nothing you can
I wouldn't say nothing. It's hard. But yeah, you can do some stuff about it. But I will tell you this too. Even if you get something cleaned off of a website, say something's inflammatory out there and you get it cleaned off of a website and you go visit the website and it's gone. That's all great. But then you go to another of my favorite websites. This
stuff nobody wanted to hear or know.
This is called the Internet Archive. And I don't know how much disk space these guys consume, but they basically take snapshots of the web all the time. And if you want to see what the web looked like last week, you can go do that here. I'm not going to, you can just jot this one down. I'm not going to go into it, but you can go in, they call it the Wayback Machine here. So you can go into the Wayback Machine and you pop in CatholicBusinessExchange.org and see what the website looked like 2 years ago, 5 years ago. See what Eli Lilly's website looked like a long time back. So pop into the Wayback Machine and it's still there. Yeah, I'd assume it's all out there permanently.
One of the good parts of my job at Wish TV is every spring I'll get calls from IU students and Purdue students and Ball State students who have done something in their college careers that they shouldn't have and want that news story expunged from our website. Ain't gonna happen. As long as it's factual, it's on your record forever now.
Remember that permanent record you were all threatened with in elementary school? It's here. Okay. All right. So you've seen me do two searches that I wanted to point out to you today. One was we've done Thomas Dale. We've done his name. And then we did it with his business to try and get some context along with the name to increase the relevancy of the results. Another search that I like to do, Barb, what's your business phone number?
My business phone number?
Yes.
317-283-1613.
So I'll do this a lot of times.
There I am.
And there she is. Find out if...
But interestingly, that is not my website address. That is a listing on a certified people website
Yes.
that has 120 other people on it.
So this will sometimes yield me information as well. So I'll pop in phone numbers, fax numbers, sometimes with and without the name, different combinations, just to see what I can find. I'm just poking around. I don't know what's out there, but I'm going to look around and see what I can find. And then the other one that I wanted to put out there was your name plus city. So we talked about that as well. And that can yield additional results if I ask Tom, well, where'd you grow up? And he says, oh, I grew up in Philadelphia. And you pop that in too. And you start to find out more and more information. And those searches sometimes will lead to other searches that you can do. So I might Google him up with Indianapolis, see that he was originally from Philadelphia, do some searches there. Find out that before that he was from Hackensack, do a search there, and then find out, oh yeah, he spent a year in jail there, right? So you can kind of do chains of searches to yield up information that you otherwise wouldn't have found just by those first few searches. All right, I'm going to do one that I did this a few years ago with my sister-in-law, and she didn't like it very well. I said, the internet says you're 47, is that right? She didn't like that very well. So this is the one where I'm going to pull up Liston. Of course, we all know Jim. We know he's from Indianapolis. Maybe we don't know a whole lot more about him, but this is the search we're going to do. This website is, I've used it actually to do background checks. We had a family that was going to watch our girls after school. They were new in our parish. We trusted them because of some of the references that we had gotten, but we didn't really know them that well yet. So I came out here and I bought a background report on them, completely without their knowledge. Very easy to do. You can go buy a background check on anybody for pretty low cost at this website. So I pop out here and but this is the thing that's kind of cool for me, is it's pretty easy and cheap, or free in fact, to find out a little bit about the guy. So Jim Liston, Jim 62, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, 62.
Which one do you want, Joe?
And-
34.
But this is what's, I like this section here because this gives me more search terms. Heather, how's she related?
Next one.
That's what I suspected. So we can see probably either after the marriage or before the marriage, her name was Hyatt.
Yes.
So Liston Hyatt got stuck on there. And I can start to use Heather's name in some of my searches too. I can just search Jim Liston Heather, see what I find there. Find out other cities that he's lived in. So while we were Googling for Jim Liston Indianapolis, now we can say, oh, maybe we should do Westfield and Carmel on that search as well. You can start to find out a lot of information about people here. It's illegal to age discriminate though, right? So don't do this site on your potential employees. It's not legal to, or it's not illegal, it's legal to do age discrimination against your contractors. I don't think there's a law against that. So, maybe you don't want this information out there. Maybe you don't want to be seen as too young or too old. So you don't want this out here. You can get rid of it. Jim, you want to get rid of this right now today? No? All right, we'll leave it out there. Anybody want to see themselves up here and gotten rid of? I'll show you how to do it. It's real quick and easy. Nobody wants to see it up there. All right. You want to do it, Mark? Yeah. All right. So we'll do Mark Kratky. Let's see what it does with Indy, because a lot of times you can get pretty close with Indianapolis. This part of the search is free, yes. If you want to go beyond that and get home address, phone numbers, email addresses, places of employment, stuff like that, then you pay. But what you get in these search results is free. They just take a credit card. So there we go. That looked like relevant information to you?
Yep, my wife's mom and dad.
So wife's mom and dad. So if you want to get rid of this, what I do is I come in here and you go to Contact Us. And there's a little link over here on the right-hand side.
Were there two listings?
Were they both you?
Yep.
They were both you?
Yeah, one
Okay.
had more. First one had more. But it was my wife's parents. I'm not sure why that'd be associated with me.
It's amazing how much stuff they tie together. What they're doing in this database is they're tying together a bunch of public records. So they'll concatenate and say, okay, well, you guys bought property together, so now we've got you tied together. And that's why it says possible relatives. It may not even know how you're related, but the fact that you bought property together is an indication that possibly you're relatives. And if your wife has lived with somebody else, then maybe they get flagged as a possible relative for you as well. I've had friends that I've lived with be tagged as possible relatives, stuff like that. That happens.
This is all part of the indexing process that
Yes.
they all do?
Yep.
So can you just talk about what indexing is? I've heard that mentioned a lot, but I guess I don't know what it means.
Well, in this case, what they're doing, you file property taxes. There's a deed recorded when you bought your house. All these things are public records. There are people up in every courthouse in every county, all 3,000 counties around the country, every day, scouring the public records. They make records of these electronically. They end up put them into their databases. And these folks, people finders and others of their ilk, are referred to as data aggregators. And then they start to correlate all this information on any keys that they can find. So they maybe say, okay, well, who's got same addresses? Who's got same last names? And start to find them. And sometimes you'll find that data's been miskeyed. My middle initial is T, but some of the stuff from public records, people have misread the T and typed in I, so I'll be Jerrod I. Carter on some sites. So what we do here is we follow through on the how do I remove information, click on this guy. My internet is a little slow in here.
Jerrod, is this going to remove his entire file or just his age?
In this case, it will remove the entire file. So we come in here, we type Mark Kratke. Just for fun, we'll do the Carmel listing. He should pop right up because he was listed there.
Will only eradicate one person by that name?
It will eliminate one at a time. So we pick the one that we want to get rid of. Which one should we get rid of?
Do the first one.
Get rid of the 48. You want to appear 52?
I'd like to be 48, but
And see, this is another problem too, right? The internet's not always right. So is he 48, 52? I don't know. I'd say 35 looking at him. All right, so we say, yep, that's me. And then you have a choice of, they want to keep you in the database because the value of their database is enhanced by the more data they have. So they're going to keep that as the first choice, but we're going to choose to opt out.
So anybody could eliminate anything.
Yeah, there's no security on that.
wow.
But it doesn't like refresh and pop right back in there.
No.
Later or something.
Nope. In fact, what they tell you is, and I'll summarize this.
That says Margaret, correct?
That's my wife.
The second one was, you want to block her, or do you want to go back and just block you?
Oh, I don't care. Do whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter.
All right.
So she's 48.
Actually, yeah, she's 48.
So, okay, that was,
her.
yeah, that was her.
Oh, I was thinking it was me, but you're right.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to block her. And what it says here is, to your question, they say we're going to block it, and we're also going to endeavor to block future public records that belong to the same person. But identifying these future records is not 100% accurate, can't be guaranteed. I understand that I may pop in and all that kind of stuff, but they're going to do their best, whatever they define best as, to try and keep you from reappearing.
But that's just this website.
That's just one website out of the whole internet.
Some stuff you might be able to get rid of, but you can't get rid of everything like that.
Well, what I recommend is this. All right, so we just took Margaret off, and we're all good there. When you guys do a search on the internet, how many of you go to the second page of search results before you click on something? One. How many go to the third? Couple, once in a while. How many of you go to the 10th? Almost nobody, right? I mean, that's pretty rare. You've got to be really, really interested before you get to that. So what I worry about is the stuff on those organic searches that are going to pop in very readily, because the more easily accessed it is, the more likely it is to be found. So there's a term in the security world which is security through obscurity, which is no security at all. So it doesn't keep people from getting to your data, but it just makes it a little less likely that they'll find it. But the persistent individual will find the data. So let's do me. Picked on a couple of you already. So when you search on me, you'll find some stuff. A good amount of it is me. Second one is not. I love the images. Not all those are me.
Which ones are you?
Before and after surgery.
Let's just say that Michael Jackson and I used the same dermatologist. So I have done two things. One is I have purposely made sure that there is good data out there about me, stuff that I want to pop up. And so I've created a number of different profiles. Some of you have said, well, I'm not on Facebook, but I'm on LinkedIn or whatever. I try to be on as many different locations as I can be so that I'm more likely to pop up in search results on those locations. I want my name to be on that front page. Now I'm in a unique situation. I've got a unique first name, which is useful, right? Some of you, if your name is even less obscure than Tom Dale, it'll be Tom Jones, right? If you're Tom Jones, or if you have a name that is shared with a celebrity, then you're going to have some difficulty getting your rankings up there. But one thing that does help in that regard is that Google, like I said before, is searching based on geographic location. So if somebody in Indianapolis is searching for you in Indianapolis, which they are by default unless they say they're not, that may help rank you a little higher. But my point is, try and get yourself on a number of different outlets so this first page is populated as much as possible by stuff that you like. Second thing is, try and get stuff out of there if you can. If Wish TV won't get it out, then your tactic is to push them down to the third, fourth, fifth page because, wow, that was 20 years ago. It hasn't been updated in 20 years, and maybe Google won't show it just because it's less relevant now. But in the short term, you want to have some stuff to kind of push them lower. How do you get yours to come higher? The most important thing is current content. That means don't just build it and walk away. Don't sign up for Twitter, make 3 posts, and never come back. It will help, but it won't help enough. So you want to make some periodic posts. It doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't have to be every week even. But periodically, keep your stream of data on these outlets refreshing. Where do you come up with the content? Do you have to write a blog every week or every month and be a content producer? You don't. If you can, that's ideal. Google's going to rank that higher because it's fresh and new content that's not appearing anywhere else. Another thing you can do, though, is find something that you find relevant and interesting. Find something that you want people to associate with you. All right. So Dave said this about me one day here talking with somebody else. He said, Jerrod, I kind of think of as the social media guy. He talks about LinkedIn, he talks about this, he talks about that. And if he just came in one day and started talking about antique automobiles, I don't remember saying that, but he said if he started talking about antique automobiles, I'd think that was kind of weird. It may be something he's really interested in. It has been his whole life, but it's not the persona that he has put out there so far. So make sure that the content that you're rebroadcasting is stuff that you want to be associated with you, that you want people to have top of mind when they think of you, because it's only going to be 1 or 2 topics that you think of when you think of somebody. So make sure that there's a couple of topics that you want. So what I've done is I found a couple of things here. I want people to think of Wheaton Moving, right? Wheaton Worldwide Moving, the company I work for. So actually I've used another service called ifthisthenThat.com, ifttt.com or something like that. And what it does is it watches Wheaton Worldwide Moving for me, and every time they post something, I retweet it. Automatically, I don't even have to think about it, just retweets for me. So that keeps my content flowing. Another one that I've done is there's a new website out called Face the Facts USA. And they just are an independent research organization that is dedicated to finding factual information out about different topics. That is like a nonpartisan research group. And I want people to think of me as somebody that knows a lot of stuff about a lot of different topics, that is well read. That's kind of how I want to be known. And so I retweet that information. I post it on LinkedIn. I post it on Facebook. And I keep my content fresh in these arenas. And I write some of my own, but not as much as I keep rebroadcasting stuff that interests me. Lynette? Well, this one does. This one, I'll go out there today to the facethefactsusa.org website, and I will manually, they've got a lot of news articles and things have these, right? Here's to click this button to tweet it, here click this button to link in it and Facebook it. Well, the Wheaton stuff, that does happen, right? I'm putting stuff out there that I didn't author, and I don't even know that it happened because I just have it automatically happening. And that's fine with me. And I'll say, oh, yeah, I'll just explain that. You know, I have a retweeter because anything that comes out of Wheaton's PR department, I want other people to see. So I rebroadcast it. So the point is, keep your content fresh, keep it relevant to what is of interest to you that you want people to associate with you. You may be very interested in what the Pope says, and so maybe you're following that every day. But that may not be what you want to retweet, because maybe that's not what you want people to think of you for. You want them to think of you for your business or for your church or whatever, but maybe not the Pope. So you got to figure out what it is that is of interest to you that you want other people to associate with you, and keep your content fresh on that. So I see we're at about 9 o'clock, a little past already. We have any couple of closing questions, Jim?
I come from a real small town in Illinois, so if you put in my name and my hometown, would it be likely that it would show the Catholic grade school I went to or the high school?
Well, the deal there is, and it's going to be true for any of us in this room, that the internet didn't exist when we were in grade school, even high school. So the chances are that there might not be a lot there unless you've gone to class reunions that have been posted on the internet and stuff like that. Yeah, then it would. So what's your hometown?
Amboy, Illinois. Amboy, Illinois.
Let's just try Amboy. So my life, that's not surprising. My life is kind of it used to be classmates.com, and it's school. So yeah, they're going to find you there. Did you sign up with my life or classmates.com ever?
Probably. I did once in a while, but I didn't close college until it popped up.
So yeah, even that kind of stuff could pop up. Let's see what we got here. Oh, this case, I forgot about my life. My life, they tease you, and they make you sign up to see the data. But what I did see back on the search results here is, there's data there about you. Born in 1950, Right there in the search results, I can start to see some of the data. And I think if I hover on it here, Google's got a cache of that. We'll see if any of that pops up. Now that's hidden again, too. Oh, you went to Amboy High School, graduated in 1968. That sound right? Yeah. So, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I try to go look at my profile every so often, but I know that Google remembers where I go. If I click on things, they start tracking. So if I go in, if I want to get a true feeling of who I look like on Google, if I delete my cache and okay, does that take it all out of there, or they still?
Yeah, that would help. An easier.
True feel of what I look like besides on my own computer.
There's an easier way than wiping out all your cache and cookies and everything, because a lot of times I want to save those because they make it easier for me to interact with the website. I use Chrome, IE, and Firefox all have this feature of anonymous browsing. So I don't remember what they're called in all of them, but in Chrome it's called incognito. And I'll pull up an incognito browser, and that doesn't use your current cookies or anything like that, and it won't store any cookies on your as well. By the way, if you have kids, they're probably aware of this, and if they're teenage boys, you better figure out how to deal with this, because they could be surfing stuff that you don't know they're surfing and you don't have any record of it. So incognito mode kind of does that for you in an automated way. Yep. Anything else? All right, well, let's go to work, make some money, eh?
Thank you, Jerrod.
Thank you.